Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's review is going to be of the Nitecore battery station as well as the Nitecore solar panel. So let's get right into it. Okay guys, we have both the battery and the solar panel to cover in this video, so let's do one at a time. I'm going to move the battery out of the way and let's do the solar panel first. So let me read some specs to you. This is the Nitecore 100 watt foldable solar panel FSP 100. It features 100 watt total output, maximum total output, 2 USB-A output and 1 USB-C output. I will read the back of the box to you. So the unfolded dimensions is 58 centimeters by 143 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. And the folded dimensions are 29 centimeters by 34 centimeters by 7 centimeters. And it weighs 2.1 kilograms. Cell efficiency 24%. Operating current DC output 5.4 amps. Operating voltage, DC output 18 volt max, total output power 100 watts maximum. So let's open it up and see what it comes with. So right off the bat, opening it up, we have the solar panel neatly folded, so we can get the box out of the way. The back side is the Velcro lid, but first let's take a look at the pouch. We undo that, and inside there are some straps and some Nitecore literature in there. So these are Velcro straps to help hang the panel. We'll get into that in a little bit. We have the main power cord, which is attached permanently to the bag. So this is the actual output cord that will plug into the battery specifically. This will work with other types of batteries as well, but I'll cover this in just a moment. There is also the actual module which is permanently attached, which has the 2 USB and the USB-C outputs. So to show this up close, this is the power module that's permanently attached. And here you can see USB-C, USB 1, USB 2, they plug in there. Then there is a light indicator here, an LED light telling you what's charging and what's not. And then we have our permanently attached cable with the output fitting for the battery station. Okay, so now that we've gone over some of the details there, let's pack this cable back inside so we can flip it over. And opening up this Velcro tab right here. Very good Velcro, I will add. Unfold the panel and open it up. So here you can see we have 2, 4, 6, 8 solar panels. They each work together to give you the 100 watt output. Very nice construction. I will say the seams and all the stitching on this fabric is very, very durable. It's definitely not going to fall apart anytime soon. There are loops up here of some kind of paracord, which is very strong as well. And that's where these Velcro ties come into play. So in the bag, dump this out here. We got some literature, which is basically information that's on the box. But these tabs here, these little Velcro straps, they open up and then you can pass that through the cordage and strap it onto whatever you like. So good size. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. So that is definitely more than enough to hang a solar panel and tie back the wires so it doesn't get blown in the wind or whatever you need them for. Very handy. I use them for hanging them off the back of my truck and it works incredibly well. So like I said, we have the solar panel laid out. If you do need access to the cables, they are right here underneath the top lid. You fold that down and then you've got access to your cord and USB on the back side. So I'm going to take this, go set it up in the sun, and I'm going to plug my cell phone into the USB charge with the voltmeter, and we're going to take a reading and see how it performs. Alright guys, I got the solar panel placed directly in the sunlight. I do have my cell phone. This is a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, and it is currently at 47% battery life. I have a quick charge cable plugged into it, and then I have an additional voltmeter so we can read the actual voltage and the wattage basically that's going into the battery from the solar panel. So, got it plugged in. We're going to flip it over and plug it into the USB slot. And flip it back over, make sure all panels are exposed. Right now on the meter, it is reading 4.82 volts at 0.87 amps. So we're going to set that underneath of the sun and let that charge while we go talk about the battery. Okay guys, so now that we've got the solar panel charging that phone, just keep in mind that was at 47% charged. We'll check back on that when we're done with the battery. So let's talk about the battery. I'm going to read some specs off the back of the box to you guys really quick before we get into it. The cell battery type is 1865 lithium ion battery. The capacity is 421 watt hours, which is 10.8 volts, 117,000 milliamp hours. So the milliamp hours is a good way to compare smaller battery banks that might be 24,000 milliamp hours. This guy's 117,000 milliamp hours in capacity. DC output 14.4 volt to 26 volt up to 10 amp, 160 watt max. AC output, this is the 110 version, 110, 2.75 amp, 60 hertz, pure sine wave, 300 watt run and 600 watt surge. So that's pretty awesome as well. And then everything just breaks down into the individual ports. Let's just get the battery out of the box and let's have a look at it. So the packaging is quite nice. Starting off right away, I'm just going to tip this over so you guys can see what I see. We have a nice padded bag with another one of those straps from the panel, and this houses cables and whatnot. We'll open that in just a bit. Here we have the adapter for your household plug, and then we've got that, I believe that's an 8mm plug is what this battery runs off of, but that's a household charge cable. And then we've got the battery unit, I believe that's it. So let me get this out, set it up on the table, and we'll see what we got here. Okay, so now that we've got the stuff laid out on the table, I believe that the household output is pretty straightforward. Plug it in the wall, plug it into the input, and you're charging. So we'll move that off to the side. Let's open up this zip bag here, see what we got inside. There is an extension cable, so this is the male and then there is the female portion there as well. This plugs into the battery unit, and then it is basically an extension cord for the solar panel. So you can attach the solar panel farther away from the battery source. So if you are running it out a window of your home or cabin, you can run the extension cord to the panel and then set this inside somewhere where it's nice and dry and still continue charging. So there is a cable there. Down here at the bottom we have the 12 volt charge cable, so this you can plug into your vehicle and then plug into the battery as well. And this extension also works with that, so if you need an extension from your 12 volt battery, you can extend it. So this is a really handy piece of kit to have, this extension cable. And I'm not sure of the total length of this. I want to say it's at least 25 feet, but it might even be 50 feet. A lot of cable there, very useful. And then down in the bottom we have a little bit of literature, some instructions, basic, you know, we don't need that stuff. But pretty simple, plug and play, right? So let's take a look at the battery unit. Alright guys, taking a look at the Nitecore NPS400 battery station. Up here we have the power button, simply press and hold. That turns on, and then it has a whole bunch of information displayed up here. It shows a little bar graph kind of how much capacity is in there, and it also breaks it down into a percentage. So right now it's reading 58%. The output is 0, the input is 0. So that's kind of the informational station of the unit. Over here we have our AC plug, which is 300 watt run, 600 watt surge, pure sine wave. So that's your household output on its own separate switch. So when you plug your plug into there, you simply press that, the green indicator light comes on, turning on this module, press it again to turn it off. Coming over here we have our DC on. Turn that on, that turns on your DC, which is an output right here, total 12 volt 10 amp. As well as underneath of this rubber flap here, you have your 12 volt plug-in, which is standard to most vehicle type plugs. Close that, and then up here for the USB, we have another on-off button turning on this module. Down here we have a PD 60 watt USB-C. Here we have a quick charge 18 watt USB, and then these three USB docks here are 5 volt 2.4 amp each. So that is a lot of different options of plugging in and charging your devices. One more thing on the LCD panel is it does have a readout of how many hours are left while you're charging. So right now it's reading 999 hours at 58% because it's not outputting anything, but as soon as I plug in a device, which I'll show you, that will change. So it'll basically take the computer inside will take what it's charging, how much life is left, what you're charging it from, so what output you're using, and then it'll do a estimate of how much time is left charging that specific device. I'll show that to you at the end. Right now my phone's plugged into the solar panel, so I want to stick with this and do them separate. But the input to the solar panel, speaking of which, is right over here below the 12 volt. So that is the input for both the household charger, the 12 volt charger, and the solar panel. Only one input. And this entire battery unit is actually very, very nice because it is the only battery station that I have that is completely made of metal. Other than the top is plastic, but the whole side case, it's cold right now because it's a little chilly outside, but it is all metal construction. Very, very nice. It's got some heft to it. The carry handle is nice. It does fold down flat, front or back. And then it has this nice rubberized texture here, which is actually quite grippy. And then again, on the bottom, it does have some feet that are rubberized to stop it from sliding around if you do have it on the floor of an RV, or if you're in your truck and you just don't want it bumping around. On either side, there are two high-powered fans with the metal screen. So there's one there, and there is one on this side. That is what cools this thing down. So when it's cranking out some juice, if you're running all the kit, you know, you got all the USB, the 12 volt, if you got a refrigerator plugged into this and it needs to really pump out some juice, these fans will kick on, keeping the battery unit nice and cool. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes total time and talking about the battery and all the cables and kind of moving the camera around and whatnot. So let's go take a look at the solar panel and see how much power it has put into my cell phone during this time. Alright, so keep in mind, like I said, it's only been about 15 minutes. Looking at the voltmeter, it is still reading 4.93 and 0.99. So let's take a look at the phone. 58%. So we went from 47 to 58% in about 12 to 15 minutes. That is outstanding. That will charge a phone no problem, as well as flashlights, headlamps, whatever small devices you have to charge really quickly. This is actually doing pretty decent, and I can tell you right now that these 4 panels are really getting pounded with sun. These 2 down here are now kind of, they should realistically be angled that way, but with the setup that it has right now, it actually put in quite a bit. So 47 to 58%, 59% now. So definitely a really good option of charging devices on the fly. And it being portable, you can move it wherever you want to. So I think now we should get the battery unit and plug it in here and let that run for a few minutes and see how much percentage it can add to the battery station. All right, I got the battery station over here. I'm going to unplug my phone. So there's nothing else plugged into the solar panel. And then we're going to use that attached cable that it comes with, a permanently attached tethered cable. We're going to plug it directly into the input. It comes on. And the beauty of this is it tells me how many watts are going into the battery right there live on the screen. It is telling me, it's still kind of calculating, it's putting in 50 watts of power right now, and it has an estimated time. The estimated time is still dropping. It's at 6.4 hours, 6.26, 4.9 hours, 4.7. Still going down, so we're still holding at inputting 50 watts, and the estimated time now is 4 hours, 4.2 hours, and it's still dropping. So that's pretty respectable to be at 58%. Putting in 50 watts, it is going to take 4 hours to bring that up to 100%. And if I cover a panel, so that's one panel partially covered, I just dropped it to 31, 32 watts. And the time has gone up to 5 hours. Remove my hands, we're back up to 50 watts, and it's going right back down to the 4 hours. So that should give you an idea of how much shade will affect. Let's fold those two. Okay, so this is interesting. All the panels have to read some kind of current, because if you close it like that, it's 0. So all panels have to be not collecting 100% sun, but they all have to be open. And now we're climbing back up to, we're at 40, 45, we're back at 50 watts again, down to 4 hours time. So I'm gonna let this sit here for probably about 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and check on it and see how much power went in. It is still 58%, so remember that number. All right, guys, it's been 15 minutes and I let the battery run on the solar panel in direct sunlight. We were at 58%, I believe I said. Let's turn this on. We are now at 61% in 15 minutes. That is a very good result. Now let's stop and think about this for a second. We're not talking about capacity. We're talking about percentage. To put in 4% in 15 minutes, that's 16% in 1 hour, 32 in 2 hours. So let's think about this. While we got this plugged in direct sunlight, and we're out during the daytime fishing, hiking, doing whatever you're doing outdoors for 3 or 4 hours, this is pumping in the power. And then when you come back to camp later on, which, you know, when I'm out in the summertime, I'm away from camp for a good 6 to 8 hours. I come back to camp after hiking, fishing, exploring, whatever it is that I'm doing. This thing is going to be charged and ready to go all night, all evening, whatever I need to plug in, charge, whatever I need to do, this is going to be ready. So that's 4% in 15 minutes. That's actually really, really decent. So I'm happy with that result. And like I said, that's not capacity, that's only percentage. We could have a battery, this is 117,000 milliamp hours. We could have a battery that's 1,000,000 milliamp hours. And to put 4% in that 4% is going to be bigger in that battery than it is this battery. Because remember, we're talking percentage, not capacity. So 4% in 15 minutes, I will take that. I'm very happy with that. So I have one more test that I'd like to do. Got my cell phone. It is currently at 57%. I've been on my phone for the last 15 minutes, so it's at 57% charged. I'm going to take this voltmeter attached to my USB cable, and well, first of all, let's just do a baseline test. Let's take the USB, and I'm going to plug it into the quick charge, the 18 watt at the very bottom, that USB output. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to plug it into my phone. And we're going to see what it's going to give us for output and time. So it is climbing. We're currently at 10. So it went to 12 watts. It's holding at 11 watts output right now. Kind of between 11 and 12. And it's telling me that I will have 21.5 hours of runtime on the battery, outputting at 11 watts. So it's telling us 11 watts on the quick charge. Let's unplug from that and let's just go to a non-quick charge, regular USB. That's a 2.4 amp output. That is holding at 9 watts output with an estimated time of 60. It's bouncing still kind of fluctuating. It's at 40 hours. It's going down 38, 36. We'll let that do its thing just for a second while I talk about this. So we're going to get a baseline off of that, and then I'm going to plug in this external voltmeter. Now, I'm not very familiar with these. I don't know the numbers and the math because I'm not an electrician. All I do is I read the top number and the bottom number, and I write it down on a notepad, and then I know what the average output of this solar panel is compared to my other solar panels that I have. So when I'm out camping, I can plug this in and I can get a reading. It has a V and an A. I'm assuming that's for volt and amp. So I'm gonna have to do some more research on this. But if anybody knows, drop it down in the comment section because I'd love to learn more about this. But basically what I do for the V and the A, I'm thinking it's volt and amp. What I do is I put this in direct sunlight and then I write it down on a notepad, Nitecore solar panel, what the top end number is. So it was 4.5 or 4.8. And then I know when I go camping and I set this up and it's partially in shade right now, and that's all the sunlight that I have and it's reading at like 3, then I know, okay, well, I'm not at maximum output obviously. But what that also tells me is when I'm running this on a battery and I know that the battery outputs, let's say 5 volts, and one day it's outputting 4 volts, well, now I know that there's something wrong with the battery and the life of the battery might be degrading or something is going on. Maybe I plugged it into the wrong outlet. So this is always nice to have, to check devices, to know. Even my water turbine, I plug it in that to see what is the best angle in the water flow. Also, what is the best angle in the sun? Because we could place this in the sun, we're not actually getting a numerical value of looking at it, but this gives me a numerical value of knowing, yes, that is in the optimal position. I'm going to leave it right there. But keep in mind, the battery also has a watt input with the solar panel, so you can look at the screen and then reposition the panel till you get the highest number and go from there. So let's check this and see if it, okay, so it did baseline we're still putting out 9 watts into the phone, and it stopped at 25.5 hours of lifespan putting out 9 watts. So this will last one entire day putting out 9 watts. So let's remember that, 9 watts on the top. I'm going to plug in to the output 1. I'm going to plug it back into the exact same USB slot. And let's see what this tells me. So it is saying, just waiting for it to kind of level out here, on the A, which I think is amps, is 1.56, and then in the red for the volt, it is 5.06. So that is something that I would write down on a notepad, and then I would have that number for myself to compare, but that's just information for the video. So 505, 156, let's bump it down to the quick charge and have a look and see what we're doing here. Interesting, it's actually lower, so it's a 487 and a 049. Not sure what that means, but possibly somebody could help me with that. So that is basically it for the Nitecore battery and the solar panel review. Very, very nice piece of kit. These two pieces, if you have one, you're going to want the other. So these two pieces are definitely awesome together and very good on their own at the same time. But having this outdoors, being out in the backcountry, being in a cabin or off-grid living, you could charge this with a solar panel and then use it in the evening or during the nighttime or whatever. Very, very good product. I'm definitely happy with it. The build quality is excellent. Definitely 2 thumbs up from me to you on the Nitecore battery and the solar panel. So that is all I got. If you guys have any questions, drop it down in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer it. For now, that is all I got. Thank you for watching, and I'll check you in the next video.